Hey people, hope you guys doing great. In today's video we will see, what if Naruto was the prodigious son and got Harem, part 2. Huge shout out to Unholytsunami for this story. If you end up liking this video please consider subscribe, and like the video, so let's start the story. Naruto and Zane drew their 5 cards at the same time. Let's duel. Do you mind if I take the first turn, senpai? Naruto asked with a cheeky smile. Not at all. Naruto smirked as he drew his 6th card. How kind. I summoned to the field skilled dark magician in attack mode. A mage wearing gray robes and holding a rod appeared onto the field. Skilled dark magician, 1900/1700. Now I activate my field spell Mystic Plasma Zone, which increases the attack points of all dark-type monsters by 500 points and lowers their defense points by 400 points. Furthermore, because a spell card was activated, a spell counter is placed onto my Skilled Dark Magician. Skilled Dark Magician, 1900 plus 500/1700-400 equals 2400/1300. I place 1 card face down and end my turn. Zane calmly drew another card and looked at his hand. Because there is no monsters on my field and there is a monster on your field, I can special summon 1 Cyber Dragon from my hand onto the field. Then I normal summon Proto Cyber Dragon onto the field. 2 mechanical dragons appeared in front of Zane. One dragon was dark gray with yellow wires coming out of its body, and the other dragon was pure silver with spikes down its spine. Cyber Dragon, 2100/1600. Proto Cyber Dragon, 1100/600. Now I activate the field spell card Fusion Gate. Proto Cyber Dragon's name is considered Cyber Dragon when it is on the field, so I will fuse it with the 2nd Cyber Dragon in my hand to fusion summon Cyber Twin Dragon. Proto Cyber Dragon disappeared, along with 1 card in Zane's hand, and in its place stood a pure silver mechanical dragon with 2 heads. Cyber Twin Dragon, 2800/2100. And due to Cyber Twin Dragon's special ability, it can attack twice in 1 turn. Now goes Cyber Twin Dragon, attack Skilled Dark Magician with double Strident Blast. I activate my trap card Spellbinding Circle and target your Cyber Twin Dragon. Now your dragon can attack or change from its attack position. And because you used a spell card, another spell counter was added onto my Skilled Dark Magician. Zane nodded at Naruto. That move saved you. Don't expect another miracle to happen. I played the spell card Diffusion to separate my Cyber Twin Dragon. Spellbinding Circle was destroyed as Cyber Twin Dragon separated into Cyber Dragon and Proto Cyber Dragon. Now I will fuse both of my Cyber Dragons with my Proto Cyber Dragon to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. The 3 dragons fused together to create a huge silver dragon with 3 heads and large silver wings. It also had blue gems on its body and wings. Cyber End Dragon, 4000/2800. Zane still had an expressionless look on his face. I end my turn. Naruto looked at the giant metal dragon and the small, in comparison, magician, which was the only thing between the dragon and his life points. Okay. If there were any doubts about him being the best, then they are gone now. If I didn't have my Spellbinding Circle, this duel would already be over. Naruto drew a card. I summon in defense mode Defender, the Magical Knight. A knight wearing blue armor appeared on the field, wielding a diminutive-looking sword and a huge rectangular shield. Defender, the Magical Knight, 1600/1200. Defender, the Magical Knight gains a spell counter when it is normal summoned. Now I replace Mystic Plasma Zone with the field spell Yami. While it does give my monsters a smaller boost in power than Mystic Plasma Zone, it doesn't lower their defense points. Defender, the Magical Knight, 1600 plus 200/2000 plus 200 equals 1800/2200. Skilled Dark Magician, 2400-300/1300 plus 600 plus 2100/1900. As an added bonus, a 3rd spell counter is placed on my Skilled Dark Magician, which means I can sacrifice it to special summon Dark Magician from my deck to the field. Skilled Dark Magician glowed with a dark light. When the light died down, the Dark Magician stood on the field. Dark Magician, 2500 plus 200 slash 2100 plus 200 equals 2700 slash 2300. Zane didn't even bat an eye at the legendary creature. I hope there is more to come. If this is the extent of your ability, then I will be disappointed. Naruto looked at the two cards in his hand. You don't have to worry about what I can do. Just make sure you can keep up. I'd hate to have no competition on this island. I'd put two cards face down and end my turn. I draw and summon Cyber Dragon's Vi in defense mode. A slim silver dragon with yellow highlights on its body appeared. Now Cyber End Dragon attack Defender, the magical knight with ultimate strident blast. Naruto smirked and spoke up. Let's not be hasty now, Mr. Kaiser. I activate Defender, the magical knight's special ability. Once per turn, if a face-up spellcaster-type monster would be destroyed, I can remove one spell counter on my side of the field to negate its destruction. Now it was Zane's turn to smirk. My Cyber End Dragon special ability is also activated. When my dragon attacks a monster in defense position, the difference between my dragon's attack points and your monster's defense points are taken from your life points as damage. Cyber End Dragon raised its three heads and fired three different beams of light that washed through Defender, the magical knight, and slammed into Naruto. Naruto LP, 4000 minus 1800 is equal to 2200. Now I initiate contact fusion. Zane's eyes were as cold as a glacier. Naruto looked confused. Contact fusion? What's that? You will soon find out. First, I activate a second diffusion spell card to defuse my Cyber End Dragon into two Cyber Dragons and Proto Cyber Dragon. Now I send my two Cyber Dragons, my Proto Cyber Dragon, and my Cyber Dragon's Vi to the graveyard to fusion summon a monster that does not need polymerization to be used. Come forth, Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dragon's Vi came apart, and their parts began to join together to form another creature. This monster's body was made of mechanical wheels. Some of these wheels had dragon heads coming from the inside of them. Zane continued. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon's attack is equal to 1000 times the number of monsters used to special summon it. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, 0 plus 4000 slash 0 plus 4000 equals 4000 slash 4000. And now the ball is in your court. I place one card face down and end my turn. A bead of sweat dropped down Naruto's face as he stared down Zane Truesdale. This guy is the real deal. I haven't had a duel against someone this skilled that's around my aging years. Naruto's eyes sharpened and glowed silver for a split second. Time to go on the offensive. I draw and activate the spell card Pot of Greed. I draw an extra 2 cards and activate the face-down spell card Magical Dimension. Since there is a spellcaster on my field, I contribute a monster from my field to special summon a spellcaster-type monster from my hand. I sacrifice Defender, the magical knight, to special summon Dark Red Enchanter. A mage holding a red scepter and wearing red robes appeared on the field. Dark Red Enchanter, 1700 plus 200 slash 2200 plus 200 equals 1900 slash 2400. When Dark Red Enchanter is summoned, I can put 2 spell counters on it. And with each spell counter attached to Dark Red Enchanter, its attack is increased by 300. But I'll be removing their spell counters to make you discard that card in your hand. Zane placed his only card in his hand into the graveyard slot. Now I activate my face-down trap Jar of Greed to draw an extra card. Now I special summon Dark Eradicator by sacrificing my Dark Magician. Dark Magician disappeared, and in its place stood an older-looking Dark Magician wearing a more extravagant robe with a painted hood and holding a longer purple scepter. Dark Eradicator Warlock, 2500 plus 200 slash 2100 plus 200 equals 2700 slash 2300. Now I special summon Chaos Sorcerer from my hand by sending Defender, the Magical Warrior, a light monster, and Dark Magician, a dark monster, from my graveyard to the remove from play zone. A man with purple skin and wearing dark blue and purple robes appeared on the field. I activate his special effect. I can target one card on the field and banish it to the remove from play zone. And I choose your Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Chaos Sorcerer waved his 2 hands in a circle, one hand glowing dark purple, the other glowing bright white, and sent a blast of energy towards the mechanized dragon, making it disappear. Unfortunately, Chaos Sorcerer can't attack on the turn I activate this effect, however I still have plenty of firepower to take you out. Dark Eradicator Warlock and Dark Red Enchanter attack him directly and finish this duel. Let's not be hasty now, Mr. Uzumaki. This duel isn't over quite yet. I activate my trap card Mirror Wall. For every monster that conducts an attack while this trap is activated, its attack is halved. A wall of mirrors erupted in front of Zane just in time for the blast to reach him. The energy hit the mirrors and went through it to Zane, noticeably smaller. Dark Red Enchanter, 1900 star point 5 equals 950/2400. Dark Eradicator Warlock, 2700 star point 5 equals 1350/2300. Zane LP, 4000 minus 1350 minus 950 is equal to 1700. Naruto smiled at that. That move saved you. Don't expect another miracle to happen. I end my turn. Zane chuckled at that. Perhaps I deserve that. I may have underestimated you. I won't make the same rookie mistake again. Anyway, because you made me discard my card in my hand card from a different dimension, last turn its effect it activated. It is brought back to my hand and we both draw 2 cards along with our normal draw. I also choose not to pay the 2000 life point price to keep Mirror Wall active. The wall of mirrors in front of Zane shattered. Naruto jumped in. Because you activated a spell card, Dark Eradicator Warlock's special ability is activated. You now take 1000 points of damage. Zane LP, 1700 minus 1000 is equal to 700. Zane ignored the drop in his life points and drew his 2 cards along with Naruto. Zane and Naruto's eyes widened slightly as they looked at the cards they drew. With these cards, Zane thought in his head, I can win. Naruto finished. Naruto and Zane smirked at the other. Game over. Zane started his turn. First I activate dash. Naruto! What are you doing? A voice interrupted Zane. Naruto blinked in confusion and alarm before turning in the direction of the voice. It was Anton. And from the look he was giving Naruto, he was pissed. Naruto raised a hand in greeting. Yo! What's up? You look disturbed. This only seemed to upset him even more. What's up? Are you really asking me what's up? Did you really forget the reason we came out here? All of the blood drained from Naruto's face. Detention. I forgot. I got lost and got into a duel. Yeah, I could tell. I had to go to mine and your ingredient site, duel both of the robots, and grab both of our ingredients. But I'll bitch at you later. We have to go now. Naruto looked like he was strapped to a torture machine. But my duel. It's not done. Naruto swore. Anton's eyes turned gold again. Do I look like I care? I'm not going through all of this again just because you wanted to finish a duel that you can have at any other time. Naruto looked back at Zane only to see his eyes closed and him shutting down his duel disc. His blue eyes stared at Naruto with a great intensity. Unfortunately, we will have to put this duel on hold. We'll consider this duel a draw until the next one. Naruto clenched his hand into a fist and nodded at Zane. Next time we'll find the answer to our question. And there won't be any interruptions. He turned towards an impatiently waiting Anton. Let's go. He and Anton ran from the pier and towards the yellow dorm. As he ran, Naruto thought back on the duel that got his blood flowing and made him feel like lightning was running through his body. That was the first person not out of my league who could actually battle me on an equal footing. I can't remember the last time I had a duel that intense. Zane Truesdale, huh? Maybe coming to this prison has some benefits. Zane watched Naruto and Anton run away, that same intense look in his eyes. After he lost sight of them, he turned around and headed towards the obelisk blue dorm. As he walked, Zane could feel his pulse spike and could barely control his shaking hands. I had forgotten this feeling. After Atticus and Fujiwara disappeared, I resigned myself to having no competition on this island, but it seems like I was wrong. The feeling that there is someone out there who could beat you, Someone who could challenge you, it feels so good. Naruto Uzumaki, huh? I am going to enjoy this year. I don't think I've ever met a group of students so lucky, Professor Sartor said to a panting Anton and Naruto, and to a perfectly fine Jaden. You made it here exactly 7 seconds before 12 o'clock. Anton glared at Naruto. No thanks to you, comrade. Naruto rolled his eyes at Anton. How many times do I have to say my bad? We made it on time. No harm, no foul. Anton opened his mouth, probably to curse Naruto out, but before he could get his words out, Professor Sartor butted in. Well, you three have served your detention, so you are free to go. The trio began to leave when Sartor added one more thing. Don't forget, Naruto, you have detention for the entire week. So I'll be seeing you again tomorrow night. Naruto groaned and kept on walking. Damn, I had hoped he would have forgotten. The guys left the RA dorm and headed towards their own dorms. Jaden, why are you walking with us? Shouldn't you be going to your dorm? The Slifer Red dorm is this way, so I'm on the right path. As soon as he finished his sentence, his PDA went off. Jaden answered the call and only saw static on the screen. We have your friend Cyrus Truesdale. If you want him back safely, come to the Obelisk Blue Girls dorm tonight with your deck. The screen went black. The three boys stared at the PDA stupidly for a few seconds before Jaden sighed. No rest for the weary, I guess. Sounds like you have quite the situation there, Naruto said unhelpfully. Good luck with that. Anton raised an eyebrow at Naruto. You aren't going to help? Naruto looked at Anton crossly. Did you not hear Professor Sartor? I'm gonna have to do this all week. I need as much sleep as I can get. It's cool, guys. Jaden was putting his dual disc back on his left arm. I can handle this solo. All right. Try not to get expelled on the second day. You're starting to grow on me, Naruto said to Jaden, who began jogging away. After Jaden disappeared, Anton and Naruto walked to the Obelisk dorm. They entered the dorm, tapped the back of their hands together, and went inside their separate dorm rooms to go to sleep. Now I wish I had gone with Jaden to the girls' dorm. I can't believe I missed him and Alexis dueling, Naruto said to Anton. The two of them were in Professor Growler's class, and Anton was telling Naruto what happened with Jaden. How do you even know what happened? You went to sleep at the same time I did, I asked Jaden. He's surprisingly open about his duels. Well, one question has been answered at least. His win over Growler was no lucky fluke. I've never seen Alexis duel, but from what I've heard, she's the top female duelist on the island. Mr. Uzumaki, would you like to share with the class what you are talking about? Growler asked the blonde. Naruto shot the effeminate-looking man a bored look before smiling a charming smile at Alexis. I was just telling Anton here about the beautiful and lovely Alexis Rhodes. Most of the class laughed at Growler's infuriated face, while Alexis rolled her eyes and ignored Naruto's flirting. Professor Growler was seething. It's bad enough that I have to deal with the disrespect from that Slifer slacker, but I will not tolerate it from one of my obelisks as well. Mr. Uzumaki, since you want attention so much, please stand and tell the class how many different monster-type cards there are and name them. Naruto let out a heavy sigh and stood up. There are 4 normal monsters, effect monsters, ritual monsters, and fusion monsters. And in a few years, synchro monsters. Naruto whispered that last part. What was it you said at the end? Naruto shot an impertinent-looking grin towards the professor. Nothing you need to worry about, sir. This information is slightly above your pay grade. The laughter that had died down reignited once more. Growler's face turned red. Silence. Uzumaki, what is the effect of the spell card Mirage of Nightmare? Mirage of Nightmare allows you to draw 4 cards during your opponent's standby phase, and you have to discard 4 cards during your own standby phase, or your entire hand if you don't have enough cards. If the monster Gilfried the Legend, which has the spell card Lightning Blade equipped onto it, is attacked by Neo-Ocean Lord Daedalus, how many life points will you lose? Naruto was yawning at this point. None, because lightning has a secondary effect of lowering the attack points of all water-type monsters. Professor Growler was spitting fire. What pyro-type monster has the ability to deal direct damage, and when it does so its attack is increased by 1,000 points? Raging Flame Sprite. Now is amateur hour over? Naruto was extremely bored. Growler was biting down hard on the inside of his cheek. Sit down. With pleasure, Professor. With a mocking bow, Naruto sat back down and went back to talking to Anton. As Growler was trying to gain back control of his class, Chaz was glaring a hole in the back of Naruto's head. That punk thinks he's so cool trying to talk to Alexis. I think it's about time I put this loser in his place. Chaz stood up and stomped his foot down, silencing the classroom immediately. Chaz turned to lock eyes with Naruto, initiating a stare down. Professor, I would like to make a request for a sanctioned duel. Growler, as well as most of the class, was surprised at this. A sanctioned duel was a duel in the auditorium with the teacher being the referee. The duel was open to the public and the students were encouraged to watch it. There is usually some kind of stipulation that the two competitors agree to before the duel as well. Growler straightened up and smiled at Chaz. Very well, Senior Princeton. Who do you request your opponent to be? Naruto spoke up to Growler while still staring at Chaz. It'll be me. Am I right, Chaz? He sneered at Naruto. Yeah, I choose him. Growler nodded at this, inwardly glad at what was progressing. And what will be the stipulations of the match? If there are any? The winner can force the loser to leave the obelisk blue dorm and be demoted to our yellow, Chaz said with finality. The room turned completely silent as they digested Chaz's words. Growler looked slightly uncomfortable. Senior Princeton, I am afraid that those stipulations are absurd. I accept. Naruto cut Growler off. His cerulean blue eyes were void of all joking as they gazed upon Chaz's obsidian ones. When do you want to do this? Chaz smirked. 1 hour after classes are over tomorrow. If you chicken out and don't show, then it's considered a forfeit. Once he laid out the rules, he sat back in his chair and crossed his legs together. Once Chaz sat down, Naruto turned his head away from him and snorted in amusement. I don't intend to. I just hope you have some clothes that don't clash with yellow. The class was dead silent. The only difference between before and now was the thick tension that permeated the classroom. That was not smart. In fact, that was probably the stupidest thing you could have done. Naruto had barely stepped out of the classroom before he was being berated by an irate Alexis. Despite being one of the best-looking girls on the island, she could be quite aggravating with the whole "you can't beat Chaz" shtick. NarutoxYugiohGX, please shut up. Alexis stopped talking and narrowed her eyes at Naruto. What did you just say to me? And what language did you say it in? I said calm down. Naruto lied expertly. I said it in ancient Egyptian. This was the truth. Alexis shook her head at Naruto. That can't be ancient Egyptian. No pronunciation guides were ever found for that language. My mother taught me the language. Apparently my family line kept the language alive by teaching it to the children when they were born. But that isn't here or there. Look at Anton. He was there and he's not flipping out. It was true. He hadn't said anything about the duel since Naruto got called out. Of course, this brought the full brunt of Alexis's attention upon Anton. You're his best friend, aren't you? Tell him he's being stupid. Anton raised an eyebrow at her and looked amused. Me saying that he is being stupid isn't going to change anything. The duel and the stipulations have already been set in stone. The reason I'm not freaking out is because I trust my partner to win the duel. Alexis looked at the two of them in exasperation. You two are impossible. Naruto was quickly getting tired of Alexis's negativity. Why do you think I can't beat Chaz? Why do you have such huge faith in him? Is it because he went to that prep school? Is it because I was just given this jacket and didn't earn it? Please tell me. Alexis looked taken aback. That's not it. It's just that I've seen Chaz duel and he's extremely good. You've never seen me duel, have you? No, I haven't. Naruto started walking away. Then I want you to watch the duel tomorrow. And when I beat Chaz, I'll be expecting an apology. He and Anton left her standing there, looking at their retreating figures. For your sake, I hope you are right. She turned, headed towards her dorms to think about the enigma that is Naruto Uzumaki. Where are we going, Naruto? Anton had gotten into the habit of asking Naruto where he was headed to keep them from becoming lost. I'm going to the Slifer Red Forms to find Jaden. Anton looked at Naruto with a perplexed look in his eye. Why are we looking for Jaden? I'd be a hypocrite if I told Alexis to not count me out because she hasn't seen me duel, and all the while I don't know how Chaz duels. And since you said he's very open about his duels, I thought I could ask him about his duel with the prick. Do you even know where he is right now? I asked some of the Slifer Reds where Jaden would normally be. Apparently he's a glutton, so the first place we're going to check is the Slifer Red cafeteria. They continued walking to the Slifer dorms and discussing all of the different strategies Naruto could implement in his duel. They were so engrossed in their conversation that they didn't notice that they had entered the dorm until Naruto bumped into a small and meek-looking Slifer wearing a large hat that covered his entire head and scattered his cards all over the ground. My bad, here, let me help you. Naruto bent down to help pick up the cards. As he picked them up, he noticed that one of the cards was Maiden in Love. What a weird card for a guy to have. After picking them all up, he handed them to the Slifer. He took the cards and ran off. Anton turned his head to stare at the running student. What was that about? Naruto shrugged his shoulders and started walking again. Beats me. As Naruto turned a corner, he caught sight of Jaden stuffing his face at a table. Hey Jaden, I need to ask you something. Jaden looked up from his 3 bowls of rice and towards Naruto. He swallowed what was in his mouth and jumped up. Yo, what's up? From the look on you guys' face, you must want a sweet duel. Not quite. I already have a duel I need to prepare for. I came here to ask you about your duel with Chaz. Jaden put his hands behind his head and leaned against the wall. What about it? I don't know a lot about him because the duel was cut short. But you did duel him. That's all I need to know about his dueling. Jaden looked up and thought, what's in it for me? That threw Naruto for a loop. Huh? You want something? Jaden closed his eyes and nodded his head. Yep. Nothing in life is free. Not even information. Give me a second, Jaden. Naruto walked over to Anton and whispered harshly in his ear. I thought you said he was very open about his duels? Anton whispered back in defense. He was. I guess it was just about that one duel. Naruto walked away from Anton and back towards Jaden. If you tell me about your duel with Chaz, then you can duel Anton. Sweet. What? Naruto looked back at Anton. Work with me, partner. Naruto turned back towards Jaden. Now what can you tell me? Chaz uses a Thonian-style deck. I didn't get to see his stronger monsters, but I did see a combo using Thonian Soldier and Inferno Reckless Summoning. Oh, and if you use fusion monsters, watch out for his trap card Thonian Polymer. It can take control of your monster. Well, I don't use fusion cards, so that's not an issue. And I'm somewhat familiar with Thonian monsters, so I should be okay. Chaz was in his dorm room with his minions. They were sitting on the couch talking about Naruto. So you're telling me that somehow this punk got a hold of the Dark Magician, and he has a deck that supports it? They both nodded their heads. That's right, Chaz. Chaz leaned back into the couch and put his head on his chin. I don't think I have to worry, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Chaz got off the couch and walked towards a painting on the wall, much to the confusion of his friends. What are you doing, Chaz? He ignored them and swung the painting open to reveal a safe. Chaz twirled the combination dial around until the safe also swung open. Sitting in the safe was a case holding a large number of different decks and cards. Chaz grabbed one deck and locked the safe back. He sat back on the couch and began to combine his deck with the deck he just grabbed. I'd like to see that hack try to beat this deck. Damien looked at Chaz and asked, What did you just do, Chaz? I just changed my deck back to the way it was before. When I decided to duel that Slifer slacker, I reconstructed my deck by sacrificing power for the ability to neutralize his fusion monsters. I don't have to worry about those with this guy, though. So you think you can beat him? Kevin had felt Naruto's strength firsthand and was hesitant to say that Naruto stood no chance of victory. Chaz smirked as he looked over his remade deck. I'm going to cream this punk and embarrass him in front of the school. You ready for this, partner? Anton was in Naruto's room watching his TV and eating his food. Naruto was doing a last-minute check of his deck before the duel. Of course I'm ready. I'm finally getting my chance at that prick. A better question would be, why are you eating my food and drinking my sodas? Mikasa yes Tsukasa? Naruto deadpanned. No. He looked at the clock and started walking towards the door. Come on, it's almost time for the duel. Anton finished his soda and jumped up to follow Naruto out of the dorm with his eyes closed. So if you win, are you going to demote Chaz to RA Yellow? He didn't receive an answer to his question. Hey comrade, did you hear me? Anton opened his eyes and saw Naruto staring at Zane Truesdale, who had just come around the corner. Zane looked at Naruto for a second longer before turning towards the door. I'll be watching today's duel between you and Chaz. I hope you show me something worthwhile. He walked out of the doors and towards the auditorium. Anton whistled. It looks like you have the Kaiser's eye on you. You nervous? Why would I be? All he's doing is scouting for information. If he was sure that he could beat me, then he wouldn't be doing that. All that means is that he isn't positive that he can beat me. Naruto continued on his way towards the auditorium, Anton in tow. The duo made the trip in silence. When they arrived at the auditorium, they tapped the back of their hands together and went in separate directions. Anton went into the seats in the auditoriums and sat with Jaden and Cyrus, while Naruto went down the halls into his separate and empty room made for the competitors. As he began to get comfortable, the doors opened and Professor Growler came into the room. As is commonplace for sanctioned duels, the head dorm professor for the competitors must explain the rules to their students. Since both of you are in Obelisk Blue, I have to talk to you as well. To determine who goes first, I will flip a coin. Whoever calls it correctly will get the choice of going first or second. The duel will start very soon, so make sure you are standing on top of that circle. Growler pointed to a part of the floor that had a circle drawn on it. Once he had said this, he strolled out of the room as fast as he could. As if being in the same room as Naruto was agonizing. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he stepped onto the circle. What's his problem? Geez, embarrass a teacher in front of their class once, and you make a mortal enemy. All of his thoughts came to a halt when the circle he was standing on began to rise. The ceiling above retracted like a camera lens and left a circle-shaped hole, just big enough for Naruto to be lifted through. As Naruto began to hear the sounds of many people talking, he closed his eyes. Vertu vincere superanti. A massive roar from all around him caused Naruto to open his eyes. Talk about a full house. It seemed like every student in Duel Academy was sitting in the stands, ready to watch this duel. Naruto's attention was drawn to the rising figure of Chaz Princeton. He had his arms crossed and was soaking in all of the cheers. Chaz locked eyes with Naruto and smirked in his usual condescending way. After staring each other down for a few more seconds, the students stopped cheering and Professor Growler got in the middle of Naruto and Chaz. I am going to flip this coin to decide who will play first. Senior Princeton, what do you call? I pick heads. Growler flipped the coin in the air and let it fall onto the ground. When it stopped moving, he examined which side it landed on. Tails, which means Senior Uzumaki has the choice. I'll let him go first. I'm in a nice mood. Very well. Chaz Princeton will go first and Naruto Uzumaki will play second. The condition of the match is as follows. The victor will hold the power to demote the loser down to the yellow dorm. This condition has been accepted by both parties, so let this duel commence. Growler scurried off of the duel arena as Naruto and Chaz's life point meter rose to 4,000. Chaz drew 6 cards. I summon in attack mode Thonian Soldier. I'll put 2 cards face down and end my turn. A soldier in navy blue armor and wielding a large sword with no hilt appeared on the field, along with 2 face down cards. Thonian Soldier. 1200/1400. Kind of a weak start, don't you think? Naruto taunted as he drew another card. He looked at his hand and smiled. I summon Mahavelo in attack mode and equip it with the spell Black Pendant. Black Pendant increases the attack points of the monster it is attached to by 500. And due to Mahavelo's special ability, his attack is increased by another 500 for every equipped card on it. A warrior wearing blue robes with 2 wing-like constructs on its back appeared onto the field wearing a black necklace. Mahavelo, 1550 plus 500 equals 2550/1400. I place one card face down and attack your Thonian soldier with my Mahavelo. Go attack with Sacred Lightning. Chaz snapped his fingers and one of his face down cards flipped over. I activate the spell card level limit area B. All monsters whose level is 4 or above are forced into face-up defense mode. Mahavelo and Thonian soldier moved from standing up to kneeling down in front of Naruto and Chaz. I end my turn. Naruto studied Chaz's face very closely. What is this feeling I'm getting from Chaz? It feels familiar. I draw and activate the effect of Thonian Wraith in my hand. If Thonian Wraith is in my hand, then I can discard it from my hand to the graveyard to special summon Infernal Incinerator from my deck to the field. A tower of fire came to life in the middle of the field, and in the middle of those flames a reptile-like creature came to life. It had a red spiked shell with a beast attached onto its head. Infernal Incinerator has a unique special ability. It gains 200 attack points for every monster you have on your side of the field and loses 500 attack points for every monster I have on my side of the field, excluding it. Infernal Incinerator, 2800-500 plus 200 equals 2500/1800. The reptile crossed its 6 legs and sat down in front of Chaz, forced into defense mode because of Chaz's spell card. Now I place one more card face down and end my turn. Something is up. Why is he playing so defensively? From what Jaden told me, he's playing the exact opposite than the way he should be. Something is up with Chaz. I think he changed his usual strategy for this duel. Jaden said this so suddenly it startled Anton and Cyrus, who was sitting next to him. What do you mean he's switched up tactics for his duel with Naruto? Anton demanded. He can't honestly expect a hastily made strategy to actually beat him, can he? If he did, then he's the epitome of stupid. A voice from behind them spoke. You're close but not quite right. It was Alexis Rhodes. She walked down the stairs to sit in the chair next to Jaden, her eyes firmly on the progressing duel. Anton pressed her for answers. What are you talking about? How are we close but not quite right? You are right about Chaz switching up his strategies, but you have the duels mixed up. Chaz changed his tactics and deck around during his duel with you, Jaden. The way he is dueling now is how Chaz duels normally. Jaden had his figurative thinking cap on. So when we dueled, he wasn't using his best cards? Alexis nodded. That's right. He wanted to beat you using your own fusion cards, so he purposefully weakened his deck to do so. However, it seems like he has fixed his deck since then. All of this went over Jaden's head in the presence of one fact. That means my duel with Chaz wasn't a real duel. That sucks, man. Now I've got to duel him again. Alexis looked at him like he was stupid while Anton sighed. Ignore the idiot. Now what does this mean for Naruto? It means that he's in for a significantly harder duel than he is prepared for. Naruto drew his card. I activate my face-down trap ultimate offering. With it, if I pay 500 life points, then I am allowed an extra normal summon or set this turn. So first I summon Defender the Magical Knight in face-up defense mode. Then I activate Ultimate Offering and pay 500 life points to summon Silent Magician LV4. Breaker the Magical Knight and Silent Magician LV4 appeared in front of Naruto in defense mode. Defender the Magical Knight, 1600/2000. Silent Magician LV4, 1000/1000. I place one card face down and end my turn. Naruto watched Chaz draw his card, and from the positively malicious smile that spread on his face, Naruto guessed that he wouldn't like the turn Chaz was about to have. You are one unlucky punk, you know that? It only took me 3 turns for me to draw the cards I need to end this duel. I activate the spell card Mystical Space Typhoon and destroy my level limit area B spell card. Now I summon to the field Battleox, but he won't be staying long. Because I activate Polymerization from my hand and fuse my Battleox, my Thonian Soldier, and my Infernal Incinerator together to summon the ferocious Thonian Minotaur. A swirling vortex swallowed up Chaz's 3 monsters. And from that vortex came a massive bipedal bull covered in crimson hair. It had 2 long horns colored gray and yellow and was holding a battle axe that was longer than its already huge body. Thonian Minotaur, 3800/2300. Naruto looked up at the gargantuan beast and quickly took note of the fact that he barely came up to the monster's knee. Okay, Naruto, no need to panic. Because of his spell card, all of your monsters are in defense position. As if sensing Naruto's thoughts, Chaz activated his second face-down card. I activate my spell card Berserk mode. All face-up monsters are forced into attack mode and my monsters are forced to attack this turn, not like I wasn't going to anyway. Naruto sighed inwardly as all of his monsters stood up to signify their changed battle positions. No. Please don't stop. I'm sure there's even more you're going to do. There were certain times in life where the only thing you could do was spout some sarcasm. This was one of those times. Chaz laughed aloud at Naruto. Well, since you asked so nicely, I do have one more effect of mine I can activate. Whenever my Thonian Minotaur does battle with a monster that is not a fire-type monster, then its attack is raised to 4,500. Now attack Silent Magician LV4 with Blood Rage. Naruto responded quickly. I activate my Defender the Magical Knight's special ability. By removing the spell counter placed on him, I can negate the destruction of one spellcaster-type monster. And since Silent Magician's attack was raised by 500 from your draw earlier, I'm still in this duel. Chaz smirked as his monster slashed its battle axe through the air and sent a wave of blood-red energy towards Naruto, which struck true. Not for long. Naruto LP 3500-3000 equals 500. Chaz looked at Naruto with disdain in his eyes. I end my turn by playing one face-down card. Naruto glared at Chaz, then drew a card from his deck. Naruto looked at the two cards in his hand as he pondered on his situation. Now I remember what the feeling I got from Chaz earlier was. It's the same feeling I get from Jaden and Zane's strength. I was so engrossed with finally being able to take care of him I got careless. And now that carelessness has put me in a bad spot, but not an unfixable one. I summon in face-up defense mode Royal Magical Library. Thousands of books appeared out of nowhere and piled themselves on top of each other, creating shelves of books. Royal Magical Library 0/2000. Next, I activate my face-down trap card of Last Will. What this card does is allow me to draw cards from my deck until I have 5 cards in my hand. I can only activate this trap if one of my monster's attack points were changed during your turn. And my Silent Magician's attack points were raised by 500 during your draw phase. Options were all he needed. Naruto knew he could turn this duel around, but not with only one card in his hand. Naruto drew 4 extra cards. Now I activate the spell card Allure of Darkness. With it I can draw 2 more cards from my deck for the price of sending one dark-type monster from my hand to the graveyard. As a side effect, activating a spell card places 1 spell counter onto my Royal Magical Library. Chaz was beginning to get impatient. Would you stop stalling for time? This duel is over. Naruto peeked at Chaz from over the card in his hand. Over? No, this duel is not quite done. I activate the spell card Trap Booster, which allows me to activate a trap card from my hand. I activate the trap card Pitch Black Power Stone. When it is activated, 3 spell counters are placed on it, and I can choose to move these spell counters to whichever monster I wish. So I will place one on Defender, the Magical Warrior. Oh, and before I forget, I change all of my monsters back into defense mode. All of Naruto's monsters sat in front of him and crossed their arms together. My spell Trap Booster also activated Royal Magical Library's special effect again and placed another spell counter on it. I put down 1 more card face down and end my turn. Your go, Chaz. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 1 more to go and the battle is won. Let's just hope Chaz stays an oblivious fuck. I don't have a contingency plan. Chaz was well past seeing red at this point. The world had so perfectly blended into one color. Chaz was pretty sure he was having an aneurysm. He hadn't met someone so infuriating and who refused to admit who his betters were until now. And the urge to show him his place in front of the entire island to see was so strong a temptation it was like a siren was singing to him. I draw and summon Renge, Gatekeeper of the Dark World, in attack mode. But I sacrifice him to activate Thonian Minotaur's second ability. Now it can attack twice in the same turn. No go, turn that Maho Velo into a smear on the ground. Chaz snarled at his monster. The massive minotaur bounded up to Mahavelo and slammed its battle axe into it, destroying him, and causing 500 points of damage to Chaz, something he ignored in his haste to finish Naruto. High above the cheering students, near the roof of the auditorium stood Zane. He stayed there watching the duel before he turned and proceeded to leave the auditorium, all the while shaking his head. You were foolish, Chaz. You let your emotions cloud your judgment, and caused you to lose this match. Perhaps you will use this match as a lesson to learn from. Chaz continued where he left off. Now my Minotaur will destroy your defender, the magical knight. Naruto cut in. Actually, it won't. Because of its special effect, remember? You do remember, tight Chaz? Naruto was having fun taunting Chaz. And why shouldn't he? It was entirely too easy. Chaz was growling. I end my turn. Naruto didn't immediately do anything. He just stuck his hands in his pockets and closed his eyes. After a few seconds of silence, Chaz finally cracked. What are you doing? Basking in the glow of victory, Chaz. Naruto opened his eyes and drew his card. I summoned to the field Apprentice Magician. And he has a special ability that allows me to put one spell counter onto any face-up card that can hold one, and I choose Defender the Magical Knight. A miniature magician with blonde hair and purple robes was summoned on the field. Apprentice Magician, 400/800. Now I flip my face-down card to reveal a second pitch-black power stone. And now I can activate your undoing, the spell card Megaton Magical Cannon. A huge cannon with red lightning arcing on it appeared in front of Naruto and aimed towards Chaz. A bead of sweat ran down Chaz's face. What does that do? Naruto smiled towards Chaz with his eyes closed. I can only activate Megaton Magical Cannon if I have 10 spell counters on my side of the field. There are 2 each on Silent Magician, Royal Magical Library, and 1 of my Pitch Black Power Stones, 3 on my second Pitch Black Power Stone, and 1 on my Defender, the Magical Knight. Megaton Magical Cannon removes all 10 of these spell counters, and in return, Naruto opened his eyes, showing cold steel. Obliterates every single card on your side of the field. No sooner did he finish that sentence did the cannon charge and fire a wave of red lightning at Chaz, completely destroying his Thonian Minotaur and his face-down card. Chaz was standing there, eyes wide in disbelief. No, this can't be happening. It is. And I'm not done yet. I can special summon to the field my Chaos Sorcerer by banishing 1 Light-type monster and 1 Dark-type monster from my graveyard to the Remove from Play zone. Chaos Sorcerer, 2300/2000. Naruto began pacing back and forward in front of Chaz. Ever since I got on this island, you have been preaching to me about putting me in my place and showing me who my betters are. Naruto looked Chaz right in the eye. I guess we both know who is really superior now. Chaos Sorcerer, Silent Magician, and Defender, the Magical Knight attack him directly and finish this duel. All 3 spellcasters shot a different colored blast of magic towards Chaz, all of them exploding when they reached him. Chaz LP, 3500-2300-1600-1000 is equal to 0. Naruto raised his hand in response of all of the cheers that erupted from the students around him. He could practically hear his father talking to him in his usual brass tones. Get used to this feeling of triumph. This is how a Kaiba should always be. Naruto's attention was brought to Growler as he walked onto the arena holding a microphone. Truly a splendid duel from 2 of Duel Academy's prestigious obelisks. Naruto knew he would find a way to brag about the obelisks somewhere in his speech. Unfortunately, now one of these superb duelists must be demoted. It is with sincere regret that I dash. Hold up, Professor. Naruto held his hand up and interrupted the effeminate-looking man. If I remember the terms of the duel, wasn't it up to the winner to decide if the loser should be demoted or not? Growler looked taken aback. Well, yes it is. Naruto looked back at Chaz, who had slumped down to the floor, a look of distraught in his eyes. He can stay in Obelisk Blue. Think of this as my good deed for the year. Growler looked confused. Don't you mean day? I know what I said. Naruto cracked his neck. Can I leave now? I've got places to go and stuff to do. Growler blinked before regaining his voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I now pronounce this sanctioned duel over. You may now return to your dorms and enjoy the rest of your day. Cutting it a little close there, don't you think, comrade? 500 life points aren't a lot. Anton and Naruto had met up after the duel and were now headed towards the obelisk blue dorms to chill. Naruto waved Anton's worries away. What are you talking about, cutting it a little close? My plan was always to stage a come-from-behind victory. Everything went according to plan. Bull. Naruto smirked at Anton. You can't prove it. As they walked, another question came to Anton's mind. Why did you let Chaz stay in Obelisk Blue? I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do the same for you, and you can't stand the guy. You mean other than the fact that all of the girls think I'm a sweetheart for not demoting him? Because I had an epiphany while Growler was talking. What is Chaz's defining characteristic? Anton shrugged. I don't know. Arrogance, I guess. Naruto shook his head. Pride. All of this was because of his pride as a duelist. And me showing him pity and allowing him to stay in Obelisk Blue, especially when he set the conditions of the match, was the biggest insult I could have given him. Anton looked at Naruto's smiling face intently for a few seconds. Underneath that smiling face is a very cruel individual. And don't you forget it. As they continued on the path, Naruto caught sight of an approaching Alexis with an uncomfortable look on her face. I'm going to enjoy this. Naruto and Anton stopped walking and let Alexis come to them. Bonjour, Mississippi Roads. Is there something we can help you with? Alexis had her head held high as she looked at Naruto. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have judged you so quickly before I even saw you duel. It was very shallow of me. Is that okay? Yep, that was perfect. Thanks, and you're forgiven. So long as you know not to count me out of anything again. I never lose. Alexis looked surprised. Seriously? That's it? You aren't going to hold it against me? No. I don't like holding grudges. I've never been good at it anyway. Especially if the person I'm supposed to be mad at is as beautiful as you. Naruto started walking away with Anton. As they walked, he turned his head back towards Alexis and winked. I'm not that mean a guy once you get to know me. Catch you later, Alexis. Naruto covered his mouth with his hand as he let out a massive yawn. He was sitting in his usual seat, the back row on the left side of the classroom, in Professor Banner's class. Anton looked up from his essay on the alchemic properties of dueling to cock an eyebrow at Naruto. Why are you so tired? Your detentions with Professor Sartor ended weeks ago. Naruto smiled sleepily as he yawned once more. I had a romantic midnight walk and picnic with Amanda last night. Anton tapped his temple with his pen as he tried to figure out who that was. Amanda. Isn't she the kinda short or a yellow girl that has her hair in blonde ringlets? The one that comes up to your chin? Naruto nodded. Yep, that's the one. I told you that the view of the moon and of the stars during midnight is great, and asked if she wanted to see it with me. Needless to say, she said yes, and we spent the night eating, looking at the sky, and making out. At that last bit, Anton stuck out his tongue in disgust. First, I really didn't need that mental image. Second, I thought you had your eyes trained on getting Alexis. What happened? Naruto raised an eyebrow at him. What do you mean, what happened? Alexis is still my number one goal. Anton looked at Naruto with a judgmental look in his eyes. This isn't going to be like it was with the twins, will it? You thinking that you could somehow have more than one significant other? You maybe could have made it work during the feudal era, but not now. Naruto waved Anton's worries away. I've got this. At most, the only thing these girls and I will be are friends with benefits, and they all know it. From all the chatter that is coming from up there, I am assuming that you have finished my 3-page essay. Am I correct, Naruto and Anton? Professor Banner had his eyes glued to a book and a smile on his face while he spoke to the duo. Naruto held up his finished essay, written in his calligraphy-like handwriting. Hi. Anton looked down at his meager 3 paragraphs that barely filled 1 page. Yes? Banner smiled even wider. Wonderful. You may pass them in. Please keep in mind that if this essay fails to meet the criteria for passing, then you will have to write another essay during the written portion of the promotion exams tomorrow. Naruto barely held in a snicker at the positively miserable face Anton made as he passed his paper to Naruto. How did that blonde bastard finish his essay already? He was half asleep during the entire class. Anton's gaze drifted over to a sleeping Jaden. At least I won't be the only person writing that essay tomorrow. Of course, the knowledge that he was in the same boat as a Jaden failed to lift his mood. And that is how the rest of the class went. All of the students spent the remaining time in class finishing their essays while Naruto spent this time getting his head acquainted with his desk. After what seemed like 5 minutes to the sleepy blonde, Professor Banner gathered all of his papers and stood in front of his class. Before class is over, allow me to explain to the freshmen how the promotion exams are set up. The exam is split into 2 parts, the written exam and the field exam. The written will be composed of information that has been taught, but the difficulty of the questions corresponds with your current dorm and the dorm you are trying to enter. For example, a Slifer trying to advance to the RA Yellow dorm would have an easier test than a RA Yellow student attempting to advance to the Obelisk Blue dorm. Some random Obelisk student raised his hand. But what about us, Professor? Since we're already at the highest level dorm, how will our test be made? Banner smiled at the student. Very good question. The test for the Obelisk students is slightly different. They will have to take the highest tier test. Our reasoning is that since Obelisk students are considered to be the best of the academy, then they must prove it. Banner continued in the same breath. After the written exams are completed, you will have a few hours break before the field exam begins. During the field exam, you will be placed in a duel with either someone from your own dorm or someone from a higher tier dorm. If you win, then you may get promoted, depending on your exam score. Furthermore, if you are placed in a duel with a duelist from a lower dorm, then you must duel another person from your own dorm to advance. The same Obelisk who raised his hand before attempted to do so again before Professor Banner answered his unasked question. All Obelisks will be forced to duel a duelist from a lower dorm. And if the Obelisk loses the duel, then they will be demoted, regardless of their written exam score. Some of the first-year Obelisks who were unfamiliar with this rule voiced their objections about this unfair rule. Professor Banner clapped his hands once, and the room returned quiet. With his smile still on his face, Banner addressed all of the Obelisk's concerns. These are the rules. If you do not like them, then you can leave the island. Or not. Anton smirked at the grumbling Obelisks. Why are they bitching just because of a little challenge? They shout out that they are elites, but when it comes down to proving it, they bow out. How weak. What do you think, partner? Naruto had his head in his hand with his eyes closed. I couldn't care less. In fact, this entire promotion exam garbage is putting me to sleep. Anton cocked an eyebrow at Naruto. I know you don't have a lot of students who can seriously challenge you on the island, but if you aren't careful and don't study for the written exam, then you might get demoted. Naruto smiled to himself, as if enjoying a personal joke. No, I won't. Okay, jackass, tell me how you are so sure you won't get demoted. Naruto turned towards Anton, his usual smirk on his face. Because I don't have to take the promotion exams like everyone else does. Anton furrowed his eyebrows at Naruto. Why do you get out of the exams? Naruto flashed a grin at Anton. Being the son of Sito Kaiba has its benefits. Good luck on the promotion exams, partner. Anton steadily ignored Naruto and turned his attention back towards Professor Banner. I hate him so much sometimes. Professor Banner was wrapping up his explanation on how the promotions exams went. We will be doing the field exam slightly different this year. Around 8 o'clock tonight we will be announcing who your opponent for the exam will be. We are doing this to ascertain your plan-making abilities and tactics. That is all I have to say. Class, you are dismissed. Naruto and Anton left with the other students out of the room. As they walked out of the building, they began arguing over where they should go for lunch. Come on, Anton, the Obelisk cafeteria just received a fresh shipment of snow crab and it tastes amazing. No. Just because you're addicted to seafood, that doesn't mean everyone else is. Duel Academy just opened up a new burger joint. I went there yesterday and no other food on the island can compare. You're only saying that because you haven't been introduced to the delicacy of lobster, crab, shrimp, and crawfish. Especially if you are saying that something that comes from a cow that eats grass and takes a crap all day tastes better. Naruto and Anton were butting heads once more with figurative lightning jutting from their eyes. Their fight was preemptively interrupted by two voices talking as one. What are you two doing? Naruto and Anton stopped glaring at each other and turned towards the source of the voices. It was Jessica and Jerica. They were standing in front of Naruto and Anton with their arms crossed underneath their busts, and their eyebrows were raised. Naruto stepped forward. You ladies got here just in time. Please help me explain to this uncultured savage that seafood is the best type of food, and is especially better than a simple burger. At this, Anton also took a step forward. No, help me teach this uneducated partner of mine that the potential of a burger far exceeds that of a fish. The two girls sighed as they went back to butting heads boys. They both sighed in their heads. Jerica pushed Anton away from Naruto, while Jessica did the same to Naruto. Okay, since you two can't seem to agree on a place to eat, the two of us will choose a place. Jerica and Jessica had a smug look on their faces as they looked at Anton demolishing a burger, and Naruto taking his seafood apart with a surgical-like grace. So you two didn't know that the main island cafeteria served every type of food you could ask for? In between bites, Naruto and Anton looked up and answered simultaneously. No. And went back to their food. The girls giggled at them before they started to eat their own food, which was tomato soup, a chicken salad, and a slice of strawberry cake. Naruto looked up long enough to notice this. Do you guys do everything together? You're even eating the same thing. Jerica tucked her hair behind her ear and looked at Naruto, amusement in her eyes. Of course we do everything together. We eat together, sleep together, and even duel together. This caught Naruto and Anton's attention. You two are a tag team? Anton asked in interest. Jerica nodded at him. Yep, have been ever since we started dueling. Why do you ask? Anton puffed out his chest slightly. Because yours truly is also a member of a tag team. A team with this guy right here. Anton pointed his thumb at Naruto, who held up his hand. Jerica and Jessica looked surprised. These guys are a tag team? No way. The two twins just stared at the two males as they began fighting with each other when Naruto snatched one of Anton's fries away from his plate. Jerica sent her thoughts to Jessica. I don't know about you, but I just can't see these two being a good tag team. They fight with each other entirely too much. Jessica nodded minutely towards her. I agree. Plus, I see absolutely no synergy between these two. They are way too different. And without synergy, there isn't a single tag team that can be successful. But we shouldn't sleep on them just because of that. Remember that duel Naruto had with that Chaz guy? I know for a fact that any one of us would have gotten stomped flat by either one of those two. Jerica begrudgingly had to give them that much. I won't say that he isn't a very good duelist because he is. He's maybe even one of the best on the island. And I don't see a duelist of his caliber teaming up with someone not on his level, so we can assume that Anton is just as good a duelist. However, being a tag team is a lot more than just being a great duelist. Yep. Whether or not they can work together in a duel, if their decks harmonize with each other decently, how well you know your teammate, and how well the duelist can synergize are all key traits in a tag team. All they have been doing since we met them has been fight. Let's not forget communication. And with the telepathic link between the two of us, we have quite the unfair advantage. Jerica thought, slightly smug-like. Are you two okay? Naruto's voice snapped Jessica and Jerica out of their inner dialogue with each other. Naruto was looking at the two of them with a confused look in his eyes. You two kind of looked like you were zoning out. I called your names like twice. Jerica smiled sheepishly. We were just thinking about what you told us. Naruto tilted his head to the left slightly. What exactly? That's a little vague. Jessica spoke up. We were thinking about you and Anton being a tag team like us and how we think that you two can't be that good of a team. Anton raised an eyebrow at that, slightly insulted. What do you mean you don't think that we are a good team? Just that. We aren't saying that you two are bad duelists, but from what the two of us have seen, from how the two of you act, it just doesn't look like you guys have the qualities needed to be a successful tag team like us. Now Naruto was starting to get incensed along with Anton. What is it with beautiful girls and them believing that he is lacking in dueling ability? He didn't have this problem back at home. Since you two have such a strong opinion on our tag team skills, let's settle this in a tag duel right now. Anton nodded at him. Yes, teach us how a true team is supposed to look like. Jerica dipped her spoon into her slice of strawberry cake and brought it into her mouth. She savored the bite with her eyes closed before she answered them. We would love to, believe us, we really would. However, the promotion exams are tomorrow and we intend to study today. Once we ace the written exam, we will win our duel during the field exam and dominate the Obelisk Blue Dorm tag team style. Jessica fluttered her eyelashes at Naruto and Anton. Of course, if you two still wish to be taught on how a real team duels and what it looks like, we will be more than happy to show you after we become obelisks. Her twin looked down at her PDA and noticed the time. Come on, Jess, it's getting late and we need to get back to the dorm to get a head start on studying before the names are called at 8 o'clock. They got up from the table with their trash and left the cafeteria, and a fuming Naruto and Anton still sitting down at the table. Naruto was 180 hot. I don't understand this place. Back at home, I have never had my dueling skills slighted in 16 years as much as I have in the last few weeks on this island. What is the difference now that I am here? Anton grunted to catch his attention. What you have to realize, comrade, is that Duel Academy is the #1 dueling school in the world. There is even a school that is made solely to prepare students for this school, the prep school. This means that the only students that are accepted into this school are the best of the best young duelists. Duelists that, before they got here, were the top dog back wherever they came from. Even the Slifereds, the supposedly weakest duelists in the island, are above the dueling average outside of the academy. They are used to being at the top of the food chain back at their home, and when they get here they still have that mentality. So of course they don't think twice before challenging you, they know nothing about you. When you got here, the food chain had become reset. Naruto took in everything that Anton said and sighed in annoyance. I'm starting to think that coming to this prison was more trouble than it is worth. So you're saying that I'm going to be thought of as a jabroni duelist until I become the best? Doesn't this blue jacket count for anything? I never said people think of you as weak. Well, other than Chaz, after that big duel you had in front of the whole school, that's the last thing people think. However, that duel only convinced the sheep of Duel Academy, the weaklings. All of the top tier and good duelists still have yet to be convinced. That's such bullshit. But there's no point complaining about it. The only thing to do is start the long trek back up to the top. Naruto stared towards the directions the twins left. And I think I know exactly how we should begin that climb. What are you talking about? Naruto shook his head at Anton. I'll tell you about it later. For now I need to go make a call. I see you later tonight. Naruto got out of the chair and left the cafeteria. As he left, he pulled a watch off of his belt. Can only receive calls, my ass. Stupid lying butler. Around 8 o'clock, the courtyard in front of the classrooms looked like a music concert. There were hundreds of students. There was nothing but a sea of red, yellow, and blue as far as the eye could see. On top of the building was a huge electronic screen. This was the sight that Naruto and Anton saw as they left the forest and walked towards the building. Stop being difficult, and just tell me what call you had to make. Anton had been trying to figure out what it was that Naruto had left the cafeteria to do since they met back up in the dorms. And of course, Naruto was being a secretive ass. Would you relax? I guarantee that you will know exactly what I did in about 15 minutes or less. That's when they both took a look at the gathering of students. Wow, that's a lot of people. You're telling me. Anton looked around and saw one Bastion Misawa sitting on a bench and writing, very rapidly, on a notepad. Anton pointed out Bastion to Naruto, and they started towards him. Hey Bastion, what's up? He looked up from his writing and took notice of the approaching obelisks. Hello, how are you two on this fine evening? Naruto walked up to him and sat on the bench as well. We're alright, just doing what everyone else is doing, waiting for this screen to come alive and show us who we are supposed to duel. What do you think about this whole thing anyway? I mean, the teachers telling us who we will be dueling kind of takes some of the challenge out of the duel. Bastion smiled at him. I personally was ecstatic when Professor Banner released this information to us. I like to consider myself a researcher, so the chance to gather information and data on my opponent before a duel is a very welcome thing. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Whatever floats your boat, Bastion. All of a sudden the noise around them seemed to triple in volume. The three males turned toward the crowd and noticed that the electronic screen came to life and had on it the list of every student on the island, along with their opponent. Anton scrolled on the very long list of names looking for his own. As he scrolled he saw Bastion's name. Hey Bastion, I found your name, it's near the top left. Anton's gaze traveled towards who his opponent was, and when he saw who it was he winced. Ouch. That's unfortunate. Bastion Misawa vs. Zane Truesdale in Arena 1. To his credit, Bastion did not look troubled or worried at all. As soon as his eyes lay rest upon what Anton's had seen, he immediately began writing rapidly inside of his notepad. It seems that I will have to cut this impromptu meeting with you two short. I have a lot of planning to do, and I doubt I will be getting very much sleep tonight. Bastion turned and left towards the yellow dorm, all the while still writing in his book and muttering to himself. Naruto watched him leave with envious eyes. Lucky. Naruto wasn't sure if he was jealous or glad of that matchup. On one hand, Naruto gets to see Zane in a duel against someone, and see his deck as a spectator. On the other hand, there is nothing Naruto would like more than to duel and beat Zane in a one-on-one duel. Comrade. Take a look at our names on the screen. Anton called out to Naruto without turning to him. Naruto could guess what Anton was looking at, but he humored him anyway and turned towards the screen. Naruto Uzumaki and Anton Knight vs. Jerica Adams and Jessica Adams in Arena 3. Naruto smirked. It looks like Sebastian came through. Anton turned towards Naruto. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say this is what that call you made was for. Yep. The only reason they wouldn't duel us was because they said they had to study for the upcoming promotion exams. So I decided to pull some strings and make it so that dueling us was their promotion exams. It wasn't hard. But I thought you didn't want to deal with the exams? This seems like a lot of work just for one tag team duel. Naruto shook his head. Don't get me wrong. I still have no intention of attending the written exams. And I decided to do this because of what you said. Since we got here, the duelist food chain was reset, right? Then what better way is there to cement our dominance than to show it to the entire school? Besides, Naruto got a sly look in his eye. I don't know about you, but personally I don't think those two are ready to become Obelisk Blues. They are way too cocky considering that they are just our yellows. If we don't take them down a few pegs early, then we may have a few new chas on our hands. A smirk found its way upon Anton's face. You're right. We need to do this, if for no other reason than to save them from themselves. Besides, I don't know about you, but I don't like the way they dissed us. I want payback. Naruto had the smirk on now. But of course. Naruto and Anton tapped the back of their hands and prepared to leave the clearing. As they left, Anton turned back towards the screen and saw one more interesting matchup. Partner, I have to ask. Did you make that duel happen too? Naruto looked to where Anton was pointing on the screen and whistled. No. I had no part in making that happen, but talk about a match made in hell. Jaden Yuki vs. Chaz Princeton in Arena 12. Well, there will be plenty of entertaining duels going on tomorrow, that's for sure, Anton said to Naruto. Naruto smirked. You got that right? If all goes well, we should be able to watch Zane and Bastion's duel, start and finish our duel with the twins. When that one is finished, we'll have more than enough time to see Jaden and Chaz's duel from start to finish. Sounds like a plan. Let's get out of here, no point in staying here anymore. The two obelisks left the courtyard and went to the dorms to prepare for tomorrow's duel. Naruto woke up to a very feminine-looking hand slapping him in the face and knocking him onto the ground. Jesus Christ! Is that how you wake people up in the morning? If so, then you're going to find it quite difficult to keep a husband. Naruto rose off the floor, one hand cradling his red cheek, and met the gaze of one Alexis Rhodes. Alexis looked sideways at him. The only reason I slapped you was because you wouldn't wake up no matter what I did. You sleep like you're dead. It's a wonder how you manage to wake up every day to come to class. As Naruto sat back down on his bed and stretched, Alexis's eyes drank in his athletic build. It seemed like he liked to sleep in boxers and no shirt on. Speaking of boxers. Nice shorts there. Alexis snickered. Naruto looked down at his frog boxers and back at Alexis, not a hint of embarrassment on his face. They are nice, aren't they? I was going to get the heart-shaped ones, but that would be too cliché. A weird look appeared on his face. Not that I mind having a beautiful girl in my room, but why are you in here? And for that matter, how did you get in here in the first place? Alexis sat down on the edge of Naruto's bed, inwardly marveling at the softness of it, before answering his questions. I'm here to make sure you don't oversleep and miss the written exam. I noticed Anton came out of the dorm without you, so I asked him where you were, and he said you were sleeping. He then asked me to make sure you didn't miss the exams and gave me a key to your room while he walked Mindy and Jasmine to the testing site. You can see them now if you look out of your window. Naruto got up and ran to the window in a dash. He pulled the blue curtains apart and focused on the road. And sure enough, there were 3 obelisks walking down the road. The one in the middle was obviously Anton, if the red hair was anything to go by, and the male had his arms wrapped around the waist of the 2 girls walking by his side. That asshole. On one hand, Naruto was pissed that Anton sent Alexis to come wake him up, knowing that he intended to sleep in until the written exams were over. But Naruto couldn't really justify being mad that Anton threw him under the bus to spend time with ladies, because he himself would have done the exact same. Naruto closed the curtains and turned back towards Alexis. Well, I surely appreciate you coming to wake me, my beauty. That was so sweet of you to care about my well-being like that. Alexis rolled her eyes at him. After having to deal with Pierre, Alexis had become quite immune to all but the most potent flirting. Don't look too deep into it. I just think that if you should get demoted, it shouldn't be because you overslept. Your concerns have been noted, but are otherwise unnecessary. I don't intend on taking the written exams. Alexis crossed her legs in her arms. What do you mean you aren't going to take the written exams? They aren't optional, unless you plan to intentionally get demoted. Of course not. I'm not taking the exam because I have a pardon from taking the promotion exam. Alexis raised an eyebrow. Okay, I'll bite. How did you get a pardon from taking the promotion exams? I have a mental condition which prevents me from reading anything for longer than 20 seconds. The ease in which he lied while looking directly at Alexis should have shamed Naruto, but for the life of him he couldn't bring himself to care. Alexis glared at him. Liar! Why would I lie to you? I don't know, you tell me. Naruto smirked at her before searching through his dresser and coming back out with a towel. I'm about to take a shower, so unless you're trying to get a free show, you may want to go to the living room. I won't be long. He walked into his bathroom, and the sound of running water soon followed. Alexis entertained the thought of waiting in his room to see him half naked and dripping wet for a moment before getting up and left his room. As she walked throughout his dorm, Alexis couldn't help but stare at all of the lavish furniture, high-tech appliances, and how upscale the entire dorm looked. I've been in Zane's room and not even it looks as extravagant as this one. How did Naruto get a dorm like this in his first year? Alexis mused to herself. Alexis was in the living room looking for anything that could shine some insight into the character of Naruto Uzumaki. She found absolutely nothing. He had everything that a normal teenage male would have in his dorm room. This is ridiculous. There isn't even a family portrait in here. The only thing of note that she saw was a plaque with some Latin words written in gold on it. She saw that she would get nowhere looking in the living room, so she went to a door that was slightly open. When she opened the door and turned on the lights, Alexis didn't know what she was looking at. It was a room made completely of metal. On one side of the room was a panel, not unlike that of a sound booth, with switches, levers, buttons, and a keyboard on it. Alexis walked up to the contraption to take a closer look at it. On the side of it was a symbol made of 2 letters. Kaibacorp? Why does Naruto have a machine made from Kaibacorp? Naruto's voice called out from behind her. A better question would be why you are being so nosy. Alexis turned around and saw Naruto leaning on the doorway with wet hair, his arms crossed and an amused smile on his face. He was also, to Alexis's slight disappointment, fully dressed. Naruto chuckled at her. If you wanted to know about this place, you could have just asked instead of snooping around. Alexis had the decency to look sheepish as Naruto walked up to the panel. Sorry I got bored while you were in the shower. No harm, no foul. So do you want to know what this thing does and what this room is for? Naruto asked. At her nod, he went up to the machine and began typing what looked like random keys to Alexis. He then flipped one switch and walked back over to Alexis. Don't panic. What do you mean, don't panic? She found the answer to her question not a second later when the metal room around her disappeared and Alexis found herself thousands of feet in the air. Ah! She screamed once and grabbed onto Naruto in panic. Naruto tried to hold it in, really he did, but Alexis looking at him with those wide eyes full of panic was too much for him to handle. Ha 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 ha! He laughed himself sick for at least a few minutes until he could rein back control over himself. This is a holographic generator designed by Kaiba Corp. We're still in the Obelisk Blue Dorm, it's just our immediately surroundings that were altered with an illusion. Alexis slowly pried herself off of Naruto's arm and tested the floor underneath her, ignoring the fact that if there was no floor then her and Naruto would have already fallen to deaths. How did you get this? This thing must have cost a fortune. And why do you even have this in your dorm? I have this thing because my family is filthy rich and my father got it for me. As for why I have it, that is because this is my practice room. Alexis was confused. How can this be a practice room? Allow me to explain. The main purpose of this machine is not to change the surroundings of the individual, it is to create a holographic and fake opponent for a duelist to duel. This machine must have the deck input into it, as well as the personality of the duelists, their mannerisms, and their strategies during duels. Once all of those things have been accepted into the machine, well, it's easier to show you than explain it to you. Naruto cleared his throat. Activate test protocol, designation, creator. The room blurred again, and when it came back into focus that were standing on a dueling platform and in front of them was one Maximilian Pegasus. Alexis had been made confused more times in Naruto's room than in all of her years in the duelist prep school. Why is the creator of duel monsters in your room? Naruto sighed. Focus, little girl. I just told you, when all of the information about a duelist is input inside of this machine, then I can make a computerized version of that duelist and duel them, all in the comfort of my own dorm. This keeps my skills from ever getting rusty. Alexis just looked at Maximilian Pegasus in shock as she processed his words. If what he says is true, then it's not surprising why he isn't hesitant to duel Zane. And why should he? He can come in here and duel the creator of duel monsters whenever he wants to. A thought came to her head. She turned to Naruto. Who else do you have imprinted onto that machine? Naruto brought his hand up to his chin as he thought about who he should show her. I could bring out Yugi, but she might have a heart attack when she sees the king of games. So I guess I'll go with the ironic choice then. Naruto clapped his hands thrice and Pegasus disappeared. Activate test protocol, designation, legacy. It was another dueling legend that stood before Alexis, only this one was even more menacing to her, especially since she was currently going to his duel academy. Is that? Naruto nodded. Yep. That's Seto Kaiba, owner of Duel Academy, one of the most influential persons in the world, and the second best duelist in the world, second only to Yugi Moto. Naruto finished in his head, and also my pops. Naruto looked at Alexis and saw that she looked faint. Naruto clapped 3 times and the room returned back to its normal metallic look. Naruto snapped in front of Alexis's face to get her attention. Hey, you okay? Alexis absent-mindedly nodded. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Seeing 2 of the most powerful people in the world in less than 10 minutes wouldn't affect me at all. You didn't really meet them. You just saw a holographic image that looks like them, acts like them, and duels like them. Shut up. Naruto snickered. Yes, ma'am. He looked down at his watch and whistled. Look at the time. If you don't hurry, you'll be late for the written exam. What? Alexis looked around for a clock to check the time. When she found one, she started to slightly freak out. I am not going to be late for this exam. Come on, we need to hurry up. I told you I'm not going. Alexis looked back at Naruto with death in her eyes. I'll be damned if I wasted my time going through the trouble of waking you up just for you to stay in this dorm while I'm late for this exam. You're going right now. Naruto held up his hands as a shield as if Alexis was going to start swinging fists at him soon. Okay, chill. I'm going. Who knew someone so beautiful could be so scary? Alexis took a deep breath and straightened her hair as if threatening Naruto had messed it up somehow. Get moving! Naruto walked to his room for a second and came back out holding a jade-green necklace in the shape of a teardrop. He placed the necklace around his neck and walked out of the door, Alexis following soon after. They left the obelisk dorm and started towards the classrooms. As they walked down the path they chatted about random stuff about the island and how their life on it was. As they talked Alexis remembered Naruto going back into his room to get a certain necklace. Hey Naruto, what was with that necklace? The smile that was on Naruto's face disappeared and was replaced by a frown. He reached for his necklace around his neck and stared at the green gemstone with an intense look. He was silent for a while until he put it back under his clothes. It's nothing. Just a gift from an old friend. Okay. The warm and friendly aura that was around Naruto was gone, and in its place was a cold and sullen one that made talking very awkward. Thus, the journey was made in complete silence from that point on. As they walked into the classroom they separated and went to their own chairs. Naruto sat down in his chair next to a sleeping Anton. When he was situated he brought his fist down on top of his head to wake him up. Anton shot up out and grabbed the back of his head. He looked sourly at Naruto. Was that really necessary? If I can't have any sleep then neither can you. Anton yawned. I didn't expect you to actually come out. I thought you would just tell Alexis to leave because you didn't have to take it. Naruto groaned. I did, but she forced me to come here and take this test. Anton looked impressed. Wow. Haven't even begun dating and you are already whipped. That's pretty impressive on her part, and pretty pathetic on yours. Ha ha ha. Yuck it up, wise guy. Naruto would have said more, but the sight of a teacher standing up with their hands full of tests have been known to steal the words from many a teenager. You have 2 hours to complete the test. When I call your name, please come down and grab a test. Naruto waited until his name was called and grabbed a test. When he sat back down, he looked down at the first question on the test and paled. You have 600 life points and your opponent has 3 monsters on the field. 2 blue eyes, white dragons, and 1 white magical hat with no cards in his hand, graveyard, or remove from play zone. In your hand you have Zur, Knight of Dark World, Silva, Warlord of Dark World, Beige, Vanguard of Dark World, and Brow, Huntsman of Dark World. On your side of the field you have the spell card the Cheerful Coffin face down and Scar, Scout of Dark World in attack mode. In your deck you have Gold, Warlord of Dark World. It is about to be your turn. Right below on the space provided how to win the duel on this turn. Naruto just stared stupidly at the question for another few minutes before whispering to Anton. Hey partner. What is dash? Anton didn't even look up from his test. Don't bother asking, we all have different tests from each other. Damn, Naruto thought as he looked pathetically at the test. I can't be demoted, so that's not a problem I have to worry about, but even then I still don't want to be considered a dumb fuck. The struggle of a lazy student is very real. Naruto spent the next hour trying to piece together the answers to the test. Around the halfway mark the sound of someone entering the classroom caused Naruto, and half of the room, to look up from their test. It was Jaden, walking down the aisle without a care in the world. Professor Banner waved Jaden to him. How nice of you to finally join us, Jaden. If you would come down here and take your test you may begin immediately. You gotta teach. Jaden grabbed his test and found a seat next to Cyrus. Not even 5 minutes later both Slifers were dead asleep, drooling on their tests. Naruto rolled his eyes, typical Jaden. I might fail this test, but it won't be from lack of trying. Naruto went back to trying to tackle his test. It wasn't going well. An hour later Professor Banner had all of the tests on his desk. Okay children, the field exam will begin in exactly 2 hours. Now please walk, not run, to get your new rare cards. They're here? Some random student yelled before almost the entire class trampled over each other to get out of the room. Naruto and Anton's sweat dropped at the resulting chaos. Damn. Naruto got out of his seat and went to wake up Jaden. For all of that, those rare cards better be the Egyptian god cards. Jaden jumped out of his seat. Did someone say Egyptian god cards? Nope. Naruto lied to Jaden. Anyway, the written exam is over, you two slept right through it. What? Now it was Cyrus' turn to jump out of his seat. He looked around him and sunk into his chair. Ah man, there's no way I'm going to get promoted now. And where is everybody? They left to get some of the new rare cards. Not everyone, it seemed. Bastion had gotten out of his seat and was headed towards the four of them. Jaden and Cyrus were flabbergasted. Why didn't they wake us up? Bastion leaned on the table and sent an amused smile towards the naive Slifers. Because everyone wants the best cards for themselves. With you two asleep, there is less competition. Naruto chimed in. Again, if those aren't the Egyptian god cards, then all of that rushing is not worth it. If you're trying to work on your deck at this point, then you are in pretty bad shape. Bastion nodded in agreement. I concur. That and the fact that a single card added to my deck would throw off my deck's delicate balance is the only reason I am still in this room. It wouldn't ruin mine. Come on, Jay, let's hurry and see if there are any cards left in the card shack. The two best friends ran out of the classroom in an attempt to beef up their decks. Anton shook his head at this too. I wonder if they know that the rare cards are at the pier and not at the card shack? If they don't, they will soon, Naruto said aloud. He looked at the time on his PDA and motioned to Anton. Come on. Let's go over our game plan one more time before lunch. That reminded Bastion of something he had been mulling on for quite a while. I have heard through the grapevine that for you two's field exam you will be in a tag team duel against our dorm's resident twins. How did that happen? Naruto shrugged. No idea. I guess the teachers just wanted to try something new. Bastion narrowed his eyes at an innocently whistling Naruto. Somehow I very much doubt that. Anyway, as much as I would like to engage in a verbal battle with you, that would inevitably end in my learning of the truth. I have a very important duel to prepare for. Bastion left the classroom post-haste. Naruto looked at Anton with a quizzical look on his face. Did he just call me dumb? Anton shrugged. No clue. Anyway, let's follow his example and scram. They left the room and headed towards what was rapidly becoming their eatery of choice, the island cafeteria. As they walked, Anton started to ask Naruto several questions. So we have 2 hours before the field exam begins, right? Yep. Naruto nodded. And lunch will probably take less than 15 minutes, right? Again, yep. Naruto began to narrow his eyes at Anton in suspicion. Anton continued on. So, hypothetically speaking, of course, if a guy promised to meet 2 pretty girls for lunch during the break, do you think he would have enough time to meet with said girls? Naruto closed his eyes and began praying for patience. For reference sake, are these the same 2 girls you ditched me for this morning? In my defense, I thought you weren't going to take the written exam, but yet these are the same girls. Naruto waved Anton away. Go on. If you're late for our field exam, I'll make your life hell for our next 3 years on this prison. Anton grinned, unconcerned, and ran off. Naruto shook his head. Ditched for girls again. I hope this doesn't become a habit. As Naruto walked into the cafe, he saw Jessica and Jerrica eating a cake with 2 forks at a secluded table. Naruto smirked, took his seafood platter, and made his way to the twins. Hola hermosos gemelos, hello beautiful twins. They looked up from their cake and stared at Naruto with thinly veiled suspicion. Why are you coming over here? We're your opponents for the field exam, shouldn't you be with your partner? Naruto sat down on the other side of the table so he could have something good to look at while he ate. He had a meeting he had to attend with a person of the opposite sex. Hopefully they wouldn't read in between the lines. Jerrica smirked and put her cheek in her palm. So he ditched you, his tag team partner and supposed best friend, to have lunch with a girl. Am I right? Smart and beautiful. If only they weren't gay. Naruto thought to himself. It's always the good ones. I'm not obligated to either prove or disprove you right or wrong. Jerrica and Jessica flashed each other a grin. This tag duel is as good as one. They thought to each other. We don't know why our field exam is the only tag team duel. Jessica started. But getting you two as our opponents was the best thing that could have happened. It just about solidified our rise to Obelisk Blue. Naruto didn't respond to her taunt like she expected him to. Instead of getting angry, he smiled at them and continued eating. When he was finished, he pushed his plate away and looked into their eyes, deadly seriousness in his. I made this duel happen. Right after you two talked all of your noise yesterday, I made a call to make this tag duel happen. Jessica and Jericho were shocked at two things, the first being that Naruto had enough sway with people of such power that they could alter something like the promotion exams. The second thing was that he would make a duel just because of a slight insult to his skills. Jericho was the first to come to her senses. Why did you do all of this for a little taunt? It may be little to you two, but to us, to say that we are such weak duelists that we have no chance of victory is one of, if not the number one insult you could say. Maybe it's an obelisk pride thing? I don't know, and quite frankly I don't care either. All I know is that you two are way too arrogant, especially for our yellow students. So we'll be in charge of showing you two the pecking order and taking you down a few pegs. Jessica narrowed her eyes at Naruto. Those are some pretty big words for someone whose partner isn't even with him right now. Naruto nodded. I'll give you that on, but let me tell you this. Naruto stood up from the table. Did you ever stop to think that the reason we aren't always together isn't because we're a bad team, but perhaps it's because we're confident enough to be able to leave each other's presence? And that is something I'm not sure I can say about you two. With his part said, Naruto left the cafe and the two, currently seething twins. After verbally slapping the twins in the face, Naruto figured that he would walk around the auditorium where the duels would be had to get a feel for the atmosphere. As Naruto walked down the halls, he started to hear some voices around a corner. I didn't think anybody would be here already. I assumed everybody would still be trying to get some rare cards. Naruto peeked around the corner and saw 4 different people together. Well, isn't this a strange group of people? It was Chaz, his 2 flunkies, and a person in a black cloak. Damien the flunky pointed at the mysteriously dressed person. That's the guy Chaz, the one who took all of the rare cards. Naruto could see the person grin under his cloak. Do you mean these rare cards? The person opened the cloak to reveal lines of cards sewn on the inside of the jacket. The person then threw the hood back to show that it was Professor Growler. Chaz asked Naruto's unsaid question. What are you doing, Growler? Why did you take all of the rare cards for yourself? Professor Growler grew a smirk that stretched from ear to ear. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm making sure that Cypher Slacker is put in his place. Huh? Chaz looked at Professor Growler crossly. What are you talking about? Growler looked positively giddy with himself. I changed the promotion exam system around and made it so that your opponent for the field exam is Jaden Yuki. And I want you to use these rare cards to humiliate him in front of the entire school. Well, that's one mystery solved. Why does Growler dislike Jaden so much? Is he really that much of a sore loser? Naruto thought as he stared at the scene. Chaz smirked. Thanks for giving me a chance at that loser, but you can keep your cards to yourself. I won't need them. Growler clapped his hands together. Wonderful. With these cards you can wait what? I said no thanks. I'll take care of that pathetic Slifer by myself. Growler began to nervously laugh. I don't think you understand, Signore. If you use these cards there wouldn't be any doubt that you will beat Jaden. Chaz got quiet and stared at Growler with death in his eyes. I'll only forgive you for saying that this once because you are a teacher. But if you ever insinuate that I need some rare cards in order to beat that punk, then you will feel the full wrath of the Princeton family. Do you understand? At Growler's timid nod, Chaz motioned to his friends and left. I'll take care of him with my own deck. Naruto leaned on the wall and smiled. Chaz just shot up a few notches in my book. Only a fake duelist with no pride would take those rare cards to try and beat someone instead of using his own deck. Maybe I judged him a little hastily. He's still a prick though. Naruto saw Growler's shaken form and snickered as he too turned to leave the auditorium. That was amusing. The promotion exams are looking to be quite fun. The highlights are going to be 3 specific duels: Zane vs. Bastion, Chaz vs. Jaden, and me and my partner versus Jerrica and Jessica. Naruto gained a familiar glint in his eyes. I can't wait. Chapter end. Tired of watching censored fanfics? Would you like to watch some very naughty, filled with the lemons fanfics without any censorship? I'm happy to announce that I opened Patreon page for you guys, where you could watch Naruto/Deku, 18+ stories without any censoring. Not only that, you can also see the NSFW images of characters of the fics on my Patreon, which I make by myself. So buy your preferred tier and join our community now. Link is in the description.